Hey, welcome to the Atlas Lens Co. Cine Gear stream of 2021. You're joining me, Forrest Schultz, at the Atlas Lens Co. booth, and we are at booth 701 here at the Los Angeles Convention Center. So we welcome you if you'd like to come today. We're going to be here up until, I don't know, the afternoon sometime. This morning we have a special guest joining us remotely who's going to be tapping in, talking with Dan Keynes. His name is Tom Mull, creative director of Worble. They just finished a video piece which is called The Gang's All Here, and that video is featured on our Atlas Lens Co. YouTube channel. So we welcome you to check that out as well. They're going to be showing some clips though, so stay tuned right now. We're going to cut over to Dan and Tom via the feed.
What's up, Tom? Thanks,
Hey,
Forrest, for tossing us in there live here. Tom, great to have you. Thanks for popping in with us.
Of course.
I really loved how the Gang's All Here came together, and super grateful that you all produced that video for us. Wanted to just ask a couple questions about how you first got started in skateboarding, what got you interested in filmmaking, and a little bit about what your experience was like working with the Atlas lenses. I know it's a lot of questions to throw out all at once.
No. All good. I can break it down. So how I got into filmmaking is I grew up in Vermont, like out, super rural, like more cows than people, countryside style. And, one of 6 kids. I had 2 brothers that were close in age, and we were homeschooled growing up. So we would finish school early and go out in the driveway and just mess around on our skateboards. So that's how we got into skateboarding, just kind of fell into our lives. And Dave and Steve, my brothers, progressed like way more quickly than I did. So I got stuck filming them with the dad cam that my parents had. It's like someone had to like record all the shenanigans, and because I wasn't going to do them, I had to film them. So that I also just kind of fell into filmmaking as well. Just like was forced to film my brothers, but then fell in love with that and just loved capturing all the fun stuff that was going down like 24/7. So that's how I got my hands on a camera at first. And then in high school, I knew I liked art. I was taking drawing classes, but I also knew I liked English and writing. My dad was an English teacher. So I figured, film is the best way to combine both art and writing, and I already love using the camera. So I'm like, cool, I'm going to study film. So yeah, that's that. Meanwhile, me and my brothers are still making skate videos. I'm 32 now. I started when I was 11, so it was at 21 years, and we're still making skate videos, still doing the same thing, which is pretty funny to me. But yeah, and now we're here today, and Dan reached out to me on Instagram because he liked our skate videos, and you were basically like, hey, like we want to see what you guys can do with our lenses. And that I think was that was the last part of your question, right? How was it using the lenses?
Yeah. I mean, I just want to say, first of all, I'm so grateful that you came on board to do this film with us, and your story really resonates with my experience growing up in the mid 90s and late 90s skateboarding. And I wasn't the best skater in my group of friends, but I got a camera from a swap meet that was like a high 8 camcorder, and I had a Minolta film camera that was a hand-me-down from my parents that I would take pictures of my friends skateboarding, and we had a dark room in junior high. So I would shoot pictures of my friends skating and develop them in the dark room, and that's how I learned photography, and that's where it naturally progressed. We'd watch all the blind and 101 videos, Day One Song versus Rodney Mullen. Mouse from Girl is like still a legendary film in my mind and my memory. And I was in a little bit more of a rural area too, so I was out in Santa Clarita and Agua Dulce, which is even more rural. So I can totally relate to that idea of like feeling a little isolated from, we see a lot of skateboarding in videos as very urban, activity, street skating. But trying to find somewhere to skate that's like just doing a lot of curb skating or jumping downstairs.
Right.
But yeah, I think that the vibe that you guys created with Worble that really represents the personality of the different skaters on your team just really inspired me and resonated with me, and I wanted to kind of carry that through because I've been so fortunate to be kind of at the right place at the right time, making movies and now building a company making lenses. And I want to kind of carry some of the experience of people who I love their work and help support that. So we reached out to, to work with you guys to make a film, and didn't give you too much constraints. Just said, we trust your vision to make something. I want to see what what kind of you liked and maybe didn't like even about working with the Orions compared to some of the other lenses you may have worked with or camera systems you may have worked with in the past. Not a lot of skate movies are anamorphic that I can think of. I can't think of any actually.
No.
So it's kind of an interesting and new format for skateboarding maybe. But yeah, I'd love to hear how that was for you and your cinematographer, Christian Long.
Yeah, I mean, just kind of going back to the videos, you said you were love to watch like Mouse and all these other legendary videos. It's like a lot of skateboarding really grew and was thriving around like the Sony VX1000 camera, which is like mini DV, standard definition, like 4:3 ratio. And that camera is still being used today, which is ridiculous. But so many skaters like love the aesthetic. But point being, like a lot of people still want that 4:3 and are still kind of stuck in that. Skaters are a little stubborn in that sense. So to go anamorphic is like the opposite end of the spectrum. So for us, it was number one, it was a challenge. Like, okay, how do you capture skateboarding through an anamorphic lens? Like, how is this different? It's interesting. Skateboarding, you're traveling across, a horizontal plane, so to speak. So you have more frame of reference with an anamorphic. So it's like, okay, how does that work, and how do you capture it? So it was a big experiment for us. Like, what does skateboarding look like anamorphically? And the challenge was filming with wider lenses, like the 25. It looked so good, but the challenge for us was like, oh, anamorphic is a different beast. So we have to figure out how, like, what's the right angle? How low do you have to get? Because it's like very traditional skate filming angles that a lot of people use. So it's like we had
depth lens, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Lens on a VX.
Yeah, right. Depth lens, classic. So the first realization was like, oh, this isn't a depth lens. Like, we have to treat this thing differently. And that's what was so exciting about it, is like we were seeing skateboarding through a different lens, like literally. And I've spent 20 years making skate videos, so to actually see it through anamorphic was really refreshing and actually like kind of rejuvenating. It felt like I was making like my first skate video. So that was, super exciting for us. It was challenging, but equally exciting.
So cool.
Yeah.
I have, speaking of that 4:3 aspect ratio, I have a really cool way that you guys could try using anamorphic lenses to make square format delivery. So if you want to do another film with us, I'd love to work with you again. We could turn a red Komodo camera or another camera sideways. And with the camera turned sideways, you have a vertical aspect ratio. But then with the anamorphic format, it'll turn that vertical video into a square format again. So it'll go from 17 by 9 to 18 by 17 or 18 by 16, which will give you a 4:3.
Wow.
So that could be a cool opportunity. And then I think with our wide, either the 25 or the 32, that would be fairly comparable in that sideways aspect. We call that Atlas scope. So that's a new format that we're working on writing a white paper on, and it could be something to try again if you want to come back and do more with us.
Wow, that sounds very exciting.
I did a little artist profile of a graphic designer friend of mine that way, and we haven't put it out yet, but it's you get all the anamorphic goodies like the oval bokeh and the horizontal streak flares because the lens is still oriented normally, but you get a square delivery, and it's even wider format, so it's kind of neat, but still square.
Wow, that sounds really, really cool. I'm curious to see how that looks.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I love just the overall vibe that you created. And I know you used both our silver edition lenses, so you can see some of those really nice but subtle streak flares in there that take on the color of the light source. So like the party scene, for instance, with the trampoline, get some really nice subtle colored streaks in there. And it's sort of like the Last Supper. It's like it looks like a painting to me. So I just love that it's kind of combining sort of an irreverent, fun party with like something serious like the Last Supper. And I think that's one of the things that I love about skateboarding is that we kind of establish our own rules and reinvent things through our own lens, pun intended again. But it's just a way of interpreting our own experiences in our own life, and then sharing that and passing it on to friends and family and the community. So it's like a way of holding the mirror up to the community and pushing it out there to the world. So I just want to say it's super inspiring to work with you guys, and I think the videos is so fun. It blew my mind. I was in kind of a bad mood, and then you sent the early edit over, and I watched it, and I was just like, oh man, this changed my whole attitude for the day. So
that's awesome. I love to hear that. It was just going into the piece, it was like, okay, it's a little bit easy to make entertaining content through Worble because it's like all you really need to do is like point a camera at this group of people and like they're gonna like stuff's gonna happen. So the approach was just like I just need to get all these people in one place or at a few different places so we can have different locations. But I was like, as long as I can get them there, then I know like we're gonna get some gold. And I think that's what shows in the video. At least that's what I strive to do is like create something as genuine as possible. So you watch something, you're like, this is who these people are. These people are comfortable. They're doing their thing, and they're just having a good time. And as simple as that sounds, it's really hard for people to do authentically,
No, absolutely.
And I think I'm just grateful for having like working with literally my brothers and like close friends who I also consider family. So it's like it's all people I love. So to capture these memories and show them to people, like stuff that I really care about, and if a stranger can watch this and see these people having like a fun time, they have no idea who these people are. They've never met them. But if they can watch a video and feel the same sense of like the same energy and just joy, for lack of a better term, that we feel making it, then that is the ultimate goal for me. So to hear that translated even a little bit to you is really awesome for me to hear.
Yeah, it was fantastic, and you guys can all check out that video on our YouTube channel out there in YouTube land, and it's also available. Check out at Worble, at Atlas Lens Co, at ManRamp, and it's like I was an English major, so I can kind of relate to your interest in literary thinking and storytelling, and Maya Angelou, I think, said it best. She said, they won't remember what you said, they won't remember what you did, but they'll always remember how you made them feel. And so I think the feeling, I'm paraphrasing, and that's not very good. It's not exactly what she said, but
I get the idea.
It's a good explanation for kind of what I think Worble is about, at a core level. And really, that's what we're about at Atlas Lens Co. too. We're making lenses for cinematographers, by cinematographers, to help people tell their stories, make their pictures the way they want them to look, and hopefully, make a good living doing it. So we really made these lenses for the cinematographers using them. And so in a sense, it's a little bit of a selfish pursuit. You know, I have a very personal connection and personal need for these lenses, and we're just lucky that other people resonate with these lenses and these images too, and they empower people. So, um, yeah, pun intended, lenses are just the focal point for everyone's own creativity and storytelling. And that's all we hope to do is support and empower people to make their best pictures and have fun and tell stories.
Yeah, man. I really appreciate that, especially you trusting us with that is awesome. And I think skateboarding is an interesting like sort of testing ground, because I've seen beautiful films shot on anamorphic with your lenses specifically, but to use those in the field of skateboarding, I think you get some really interesting, like more DIY experimental approaches, and I think some real magic can happen through that process. And to me, that's what's so beautiful about skateboarding is like there's so much room to experiment. Like there's so much you can do, and the stakes are relatively low in the sense that like people are pretty open-minded in skateboarding, so you can test things out, you can experiment, and you get people like Spike Jonze who came through skateboarding and told stories through skateboarding, because I think he valued that scene and that culture and the creatives that skateboarding fosters. So I respect that you acknowledge that as well, and you you trusted us with your lenses, and I'm thankful that you don't regret it. So.
Yeah, I mean, Spike is one of my biggest inspirations for making films and for starting this company too. So, yeah, it's great to have pillars of our community kind of shining a guiding light in their own way. And yeah, like you said, I think skateboarding is a place where the future is wide open. There's still room for pioneering. I see people doing new things and athletic things, but artistic things. It's it's as limitless as dancing. It is a form of dance in a way. It's right. Poetry in motion. So it's one of my biggest passions in life before becoming a cinematographer, and so I'm glad that we keep that cycle going and see the films that you guys made, and thank you. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to shoot anamorphic for the first time ever. And yeah, also you mentioned Christian Long, who was the DP of the project, so I just want to shout out to him. And yeah, just making the whole, we only had 2 days of shooting, but they were both so easy and fun, and everybody was so helpful, and it was probably the most enjoyable shoot. So thank you for making that easy on us and an enjoyable experience for the whole crew. So that goes a long way. You set the tone there, and then that translates directly to the film. So thank you for contributing in that respect.
Our pleasure. Yeah. Are there any questions anyone out there on YouTube has for us? Are there any questions you want to ask me, Tom?
That's a good question. What was you guys just released the 25 millimeter? What was it? Yesterday?
2 days ago now. Yeah.
2 days ago.
Feels like yesterday.
Yeah. What made you want to make it? Because you had the 32 as the next widest. What made you want to do the 25?
In anamorphic, even though it's already a wider format, people are always looking to push the boundaries and go even wider, right? And so really there was nothing quite like the 25 that we built out there that's effectively a 12.5 millimeter focal length horizontally. Mm-hmm. And so back in 2018 we sat down with the engineering team here and said, how possible would it be to do something even wider than this 32 and still have nice barrel distortion but no pin cushion or mustache distortion. We've got to make a mustache distortion lens for Manro. I think that's like part of what I was thinking when I saw the shot of Man Ramp in the pool. I was like, no mustache distortion here.
I love that. That's hilarious.
But yeah, it's hard to, we all say lens design is compromise, right? So no matter what kind of lens you're making, there's always some constraints in terms of materials, manufacturing, and then making sure that the end result is pleasing to the eye and maybe fast enough. Because you can make any lens can be good if you make a slow lens. It's like a f4 or f5.6, but to make a f2 lens or a t2 lens, it still has all these other nice characteristics and not totally filled with chromatic aberration, but like a nice balance of aberrations that look filmic, but still pleasing is a big challenge. And we're fortunate enough to have a really great optical engineering team here who sorted through those difficulties, and we said, we think this is possible, but it took us about 3.5 years to actually go from the initial concept to completion. So
wow,
quite a special outcome.
Yeah. Wow. 3 years? You said 3.5 years?
Yeah.
Wow. So congratulations on finally releasing it.
And I do have a feed of some questions coming in here that I can pass on.
Yeah.
So Danny Hidalgo says, were there any lenses you leaned on more for this project than others?
I think probably the 32 the most, to be honest. Like, we definitely wanted to experiment with the 25 and see what was possible, but I think to me what was appealing about the 32 was that it was wide, but also still had a very cinematic quality to me. So it's almost like kind of splitting the difference between a flatter lens. But I think that's what I gravitated towards most. It just felt easier. A lot of the shots we had, like in the car, Man Ramp driving, or even the shot in the back of the truck with Cobra Man on either side of the frame, like just based on the spaces we were working in, the 32 just ended up working out. So that's part of what it was just like working with the restrictions we had, and the 32 came in handy. But for the pool stuff, the 25 was really fun because you throw that on there and you can kind of run with the camera and everything's going to be in frame. And it just has it's easier to get a cool handheld look with the 25. So both of those lenses were the most fun to shoot with.
That's great. I love the 32 also because it's a very classic focal length for in spherical. Shooting on a 32 will give you a nice natural field of view. So you have kind of, with anamorphic, you really have 2 focal lengths, and one you have the vertical field of view, and then the horizontal, which is twice as wide with the Orions. So it's like a combination of a 16 and a 32. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I like that.
Cool. Well, I don't think there's any more questions out there from the audience, but I would just encourage everyone, if you're not already following Worble, please follow at Worble, at Tom_Dole, at Dan_Canes, at Atlas Lens Co. Any shout outs you want to give, Tom?
Just the crew. It's like I'm here talking about the video, but it wouldn't be nearly the same without their energy. And I just want to shout them out, and also Atlas and Dan for giving us the freedom and just motivating us to go out there and make something fun in a little outside our comfort zone. So that goes a long way with us, and it's a good challenge for me. So it feels like a good stepping stone and milestone in the growth of Worble to have this project in the books. So extremely grateful for that. So thank you guys a bunch.
Thank you again, and we're always here for you. Anything you need, reach out, and please give my appreciation to the team too. It's a beautiful film, and just years from now, that'll be special to you guys, I think, too, and to me to look back on. So cool.
Yeah, awesome. I actually saw, I think, a comment on your YouTube. I don't normally go through reading comments. It can be not necessarily the best approach, but all the comments are so positive, so it's fun to see how videos affect people. But one comment that resonated was like, every skate crew needs a video like this to celebrate them. And I love that. It's because like skate crews, like having a crew of friends to skate with is like so valuable to me. It was as a kid, it was like through my, teenage development years, and to this day is like a support group for me, and like a safety net even. And to me, the video celebrates my crew, and it's like an ode to my own friends, but also an ode to the skate crew as a concept and as a cultural phenomena. So I'm glad that people can watch our crew having a good time and resonate with that and see their own crew in that. So yeah, that's an awesome takeaway, and I love seeing comments like that. It's the best.
All right. Well, thanks again, Tom, and hope you have a wonderful fall season. Give my best to everybody, and stay safe, stay sane, and have a blast out there. Keep making great art and having fun.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dan. Appreciate you, man.
I appreciate you. See you soon.
All right, later.
Take care.